Join me in painting a self-portrait. Most artists, especially the ones who paint portraits, occasionally decide to paint a self-portrait. And you'd think it would allow us to work with a subject we are more familiar with because, we all see our own faces every single time we look in the mirror. However, if you're working away from a photo, the face looking back at you isn't the one you're used to seeing. Let me explain, and this will probably also explain why you don't like photos of yourself. A photo depicts your face in the same way people around you are used to seeing your face, which is why they tend to say that you look great in photos you hate. In other words, we are used to seeing our reflection, as in our faces are mirrored or flipped horizontally. This then means that a lot of artists finds it tricky to paint a self-portrait when it's based on a reference photo, because it simply is not how they tend to see themselves. Of course, it's totally possible to reflect the image through digital means, though it's also possible to paint a self-portrait while looking in a mirror. My choice for the self-portrait was to use a reference photo, especially because it took me a while to paint this image, so that meant that things were more consistent. I was also really struggling with the self-portrait. In fact, I believe this was my 4th attempt. The other 3 honestly didn't look like me at all, though I was also trying to play around with style, which I again was unsuccessful with in the other images. Have you ever painted a self-portrait? If so, did you work away from a photo, a mirrored photo, or did you go old school and look at yourself in a mirror? Let me know in the comments. What's kind of sad is that even though I'm happy with how this self-portrait turned out, and I've been using it on all my social media platforms, sometimes with a different background, I still feel as though I could do better. So who knows? I might end up creating a new one. Thank you so much for watching. More process videos are up on my YouTube channel, and you can find more of my work on my website and on social media.